Hey, this is Antonical Oracle, following up with a series that I am doing for this channel in order to help it grow. Today's reading will be for water signs seeking out information and compatibility with other water signs. So that will be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, seeking out connections within Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. That being said, I'm trying to keep these videos around the 15-minute mark, and as far as time frame goes, it may go a little bit over that though, because we have 7 cards times 4, so about 28 different cards that we'll have out here, because we'll be covering the head space, the heart space, and the outcome between each person, as well as the head space, heart space, and likely outcome for the other person, right? And then we'll have a combined outcome for the middle as to what we can kind of expect the two to be seeing. I have included my PayPal link in the description if you are interested in donating to the channel to help it grow. Particularly right now, I am trying to look at investing to get a new microphone. As I feel like the audio for a lot of the recordings does come in a little bit washed and kind of echoey. I feel like the video quality isn't bad, but improving the audio might help, just because with the way I kind of have things set up, it's almost more of a podcast as it is anyways. So I feel like that will just make it overall more enjoyable for everybody. That being said, do not feel obligated to donate to the channel by any means. In fact, what would be better more than anything is a subscribe, like, or comment on the video, as that really helps the channel grow and get out to more people. And if you find the information useful, or if it helped you, there's a good chance that other people may find it helpful as well, and helping them find the video obviously would be nice. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and assign roles here, since it is a little bit, both being water signs. So we'll read this as your energy potentially, or their energy, and obviously if the roles make more sense flipped, go ahead and do so. So getting it started off, we have the Page of Swords with the Knight of Wands. This talks about kind of maybe a bit of immaturity, or really conflict. It's more just kind of like almost kind of young conflict, a young understanding about how to go about this. There may be some sexual desires, or sexual fantasies even, kind of lusting after somebody. And this doesn't necessarily mean like a negative sense, everybody has human desires, especially on the physical front, but this just talks about kind of going about that. And this is kind of in the headspace, and there may be some tension on whether or not to fight these desires, and how about relaying them, kind of keeping them under wraps, because we have the conflict between the swords and the wands, right? In the heart space, we have the 7 of Pentacles with the Queen of Wands. So this really talks about you feeling some passion between the two of you, but you're still waiting for this connection to kind of really grow and materialize. And while you might be getting some signs and indications of interest, there's just not really enough for you to kind of feel like you're banking on anything. So it's like you feel like you have a connection, you feel like you have passion towards this person, yet at the same time you're still waiting for it to grow. Under the likely outcome, we have the Death card, and then we have the King of Cups. So this talks to me about almost feeling this desire to kind of pull back and be more in an emotional state. And maybe this is because you're not fully seeing this connection grow. So I feel like it's kind of like this, like almost maybe a little bit of the feelings hurt because you're not getting a full receptiveness from this person. And this, I'm going to pull back and see if this helps the relationship grow. It's like this push-pull dynamic that I'm feeling. Like you're like, well, if I pull away, maybe they'll come across more interested. And under the headspace here, funny enough, we have them kind of doing the same thing. We have the Ace of Swords and the Six of Swords showing up, and this talks about them kind of like having this idea of also like moving on, and being unsure about the connection, not sure that this is entirely what they want. So they're kind of pulling away. So it's like as you give into this offer, they're kind of pulling away. And this is what's kind of creating the confusion here in the heart space, I feel like, because you're like, well, I kind of get signs that they might be interested, but then it just kind of maybe is leading to nowhere, you know, but I feel like I'm interested in them. And then under their heart space, we have this Chariot with the Ten of Pentacles showing up here. And this talks about them really chasing after and pursuing kind of this financial gains, trying to balance out their home life. You know, really pursuing what to me is like either career or passion or soul mission is how I'm really reading it here. And then the likely outcome between for them, we have the Page of Wands and the Two of Cups. So it's like as you pull away, they come running right back to you, you know? And I feel like this has just been how the dynamic has slightly been playing out between the two of you. As you're both water signs, and who knows, maybe even both the same sign, you know? It could be like Cancers, or Pisces, Scorpio kind of scenario that we're looking at. So it's almost like either side could have flipped to a certain degree here. So we have a message or some sort of indicator that they're now kind of seeking out this as you're almost walking away and stepping more into your emotional state. As you step into your emotional state, then they come in and they're like, hey, wait a second, I actually see this connection. You know, you've been distant, and because you've been distant, now I kind of want what I can't have kind of thing. Funny how that works out, right? So if you guys are interested, and I've left this on all the other videos, and I'm assuming since I'm doing water sign, you may have watched a few different of the water sign videos potentially. If you are interested, please let me know if you want me to lay out all the cards ahead of time so I'm not having to go through them while I'm doing the reading. I think it will save us a little bit of time going through that. However, I do understand if you want to see the cards shuffled. As it kind of can potentially make it the readings, you know, it lets you know their readings are authentic, you know, and that they're not just pre-laid out by whatever means I've chosen. So we have the Six of Wands and the Death card showing up here as you know, moving on into the energy later on throughout the week, because these readings are intended to be bi-weekly, so about, you know, 14 to 17 days, just depending. Is really the energy time frame that I'm looking at, and this is all, you know, fluid, so anything is subject to change as things kind of proceed forward here. But we have the Six of Wands with the Death card in the headspace. So this tells me that it's like you feel success in you kind of pulling away. As I'm reading this, you know, continued on from here, and it's like you get this idea is that as you pull back, you're now attracting this person in. And this to me, it comes across as success to you. But with that being said, in your heart space, you may almost kind of go overboard here to the point where all of a sudden you feel like you're kind of standing your ground and being defensive in nature towards this person in attempts to almost get them to go way overboard. And then you kind of have to pull back on the reins a little bit and go like, oh, wait a second, I actually do like you. What the hell am I doing? Why am I being so defensive? So then it's like you start off being really into it, right? And then you pull away because you're not getting everything that you want. And then they come towards you because of that. And then you're kind of defensive about it. And then you go like, wait a second, this is what I wanted in the first place. So then you're actually back to the point where you have to extend out the offer. And it's this kind of big old push-pull game. We have the King of Wands showing up and the Chariot showing up as the likely outcome. So what will actually be displayed here versus, you know, what's mentally going on, what's emotionally going on. So what's being displayed here is that you're taking control of your passion. You're really not just being passionate towards them, but you're taking control of that, and you're really dominating it and allowing you to be in that role while being fully in control of it. And you're driving the chariot. You're understanding what each action entails for you and what the likely outcome is going to be as you're doing it. To me, this is almost like one of those it's almost like a chess match between the two of you, and each person is making their moves, and it's all very calculated and planned out, and you're expecting certain results and outcomes from this. So as this person has basically had this idea to kind of walk away because they are feeling this whole push-pull thing, they're starting to, almost doubt their decision. They've walked away from it, or in their head they've walked away from it. This could be just as simple as them, being like, oh, I'm not going to write this person back, or I'm not going to text them, I'm not going to call them back, I'm not going to go to the same places that this person is, or XYZ, and them trying to limit communication or whatever. But then they've started to dwell over this. They're missing the connection of what it was because they've walked off. So to me, this is a lot of emotions that have just been kind of building up and processing out. And this is the entire head dynamic of both of you, is that there's this kind of push pull, kind of like a chasing after one another, and as one person becomes the chaser, the other the runner, and the second that person is like, you know what, I'm not going to chase this person, and the other person comes and starts chasing for a little bit there to keep the game going between the two of you. We have in the heart space later on in the period here, we have the Knight of Pentacles and then the Nine of Pentacles. So when we have the Seven of Pentacles up here, and you're like, all right, well, this relationship or dynamic hasn't really grown much. We're seeing that it's been kind of a slow, steady process of you going back and forth, and kind of working at continuing to build this attraction and relationship between the two, your prospective interests. And they're starting to feel like things are ready for the harvest. As it's been kind of like this long-awaited offer. We see the maturity in the heart space go from, the Page of Pentacles over here to them now, the prospective person now being ready to actually have a more stable offer of something and having it kind of develop into something that's ready to go. In the likely outcome here, we have the Ten of Cups and then the King of Cups. So all of a sudden, this dynamic between the two of you has really matured and grown, and you have this emotional abundance between the two of you. And I think in a lot of ways, this has just been kind of the route of building the attraction between the two of you, showing that you're willing to walk away if you need to, and yet also at the same time willing to keep the connection, hold on to the connection. And it's allowed a bit of healthy drama between the two of you. It's not boring, it's not stagnant. It may not always be 100% pleasant, the entire experience, but part of the fun of relationships can be guessing as to what's going on, So we see them stepping into the King of Cups role, which is obviously them really controlling their emotions and still mirroring almost back and forth between the two of you. So, under the likely outcome here, we have the Prince of Swords or the Knight of Swords. We have the Hermit, we have the Ace of Cups, and then we have the Eight of Cups. So this could have felt pretty chaotic at times, where you're just like, well, how do we go so hot and cold all the time? And this has left you guys both going internally and kind of like viewing this entire situation and searching out the answers within yourself as to why this is going hot and cold, and whether or not you're enjoying the game or not, and kind of on both sides. And this is what allows you guys to proceed forward in this emotional new start here. It's just been this big runner-chaser dynamic, which is perfectly represented in this Eight of Cups here. We have the Eight of Cups in the traditional right away, boom, this person moving on from it. And then the other Eight of Cups to end out the entire reading, they've shown back up to pick up the cups and continue on, and it's a big runner-chaser dynamic between the two of you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it builds a lot of attraction, and I think it's just something that you need to expect when you're dealing with a bunch of emotions, very emotional water signs interacting with each other. It's just part of the dynamic, and I think that that's what to be expected over the next couple of weeks. If you guys have been seeking guidance, I hope this helps. And please leave a like, comment, share on the video. It will really help the channel grow. Thank you.